Hello, kidney warriors. James here
Back.
from Dadvice TV. How are you doing tonight? This is another episode of Dadvice TV Live. And to let you know, is it live? It is Tuesday, the 16th of June. Had to remember what month it was. Been inside so long, I kind of forget what month it is. And it is 6 p.m. Eastern time. So if you do the time change wherever you're at, and that's the right time for you, hey, we are completely live, which means you can also post comments in the live chat. And today, boy, we got quite a great episode today. Not only are we going to talk about in a few moments gut health and why that is so important to you and to your kidneys, we are going to be doing a giveaway. We are going to be giving away Chemo Fortis. This is a fiber pill, which is very important to gut health. So pay attention and listen for how to enter. Now let's go ahead and let's introduce my co-host here. You guys know her, Jen Hernandez. Hey, Jen, how you doing?
Hey, James. I am doing great today. It's been kind of drizzling outside, which we haven't had rain stick around for a while. So I'm really actually enjoying the wet weather we're getting here.
Well, here in Cincinnati, Ohio, boy, our cold weather just disappeared overnight, and it has been so warm. And I'm still a little bit of a bigger guy, so got to lose some more weight, get some more exercise going. So it's been a little difficult in the middle of the day getting out there and getting my exercise. I get hot pretty easy. But at night, it's nice and cool, so I can go in, get my walks early in the morning, and get them at night. Mm-hmm. So let's jump right on in to today's topic. Or first, actually, in case there's new people, because I keep forgetting, we get new people every single time. I am James. I am a kidney patient who was diagnosed stage 5 kidney failure. Nobody wants kidney failure. And I was told there was no hope except dialysis and transplant. Well, I worked with renal dietitians. I worked with some amazing doctors who were very positive. They said, James, you don't have to go on dialysis. You don't have to get a transplant. The power of nutrition may, big word may, be able to help you. And I worked with my doctors and I got better. I made it to stage 4. I had a lot of bad anemia, draining all my energy, holding me back. I kept working with them, changing my diets, looking at my labs, figuring out what I had to do. And now, not a single symptom, stage 3, feeling amazing. Nothing is holding me back. My kidneys, you couldn't even tell I had kidney disease. And let me have you introduce yourself, Jen, for anyone who's new out there. So if with me, they know kidney patient, I've lived it, I've been through the worst. There is hope. What do you bring to the table, Jen?
So I am a registered dietitian. I'm also board certified in renal nutrition. And this is something that's been a huge passion of mine for the majority of my dietitian career. I've always loved helping people with kidney issues because, to be honest, I don't have kidney issues, but even I, as a medical professional, was kind of scared about learning the kidney diet, the renal diet, because it's so deep. It's so intricate. It's not as simple as calories in, calories out like weight loss is. And I was scared about it, but I wanted to master it and I wanted to help people with kidney issues. And so I took on that challenge, and that is when I became a dietitian in dialysis. I have worked with the National Kidney Foundation in helping people screen to check for kidney issues. And I've helped people through all different stages of kidney issues, kidney health, kidney disease. And where I'm at now is I actually live on the island of Oahu, Hawaii.
Woo-hoo!
And yeah, very, very blessed, very, very happy. And I help people in my virtual private practice, working with clients just like this, to talk with them about their kidney health, their kidney issues, and make sure that they're doing everything right, everything in their power to do just like what James talks about, is kicking kidney disease to the curb.
Yeah, there you go. Kick kidney disease to the curb. Now on the screen, I have your URL. So anyone who thinks, hey, I want to work with Jen, because let me tell you something. Once you hear her chat, if this is your first time, you're going to want to work with Jen. I got your URL up here, but who can you work with?
Thanks for asking me about that. There are regulations when it comes to working with the dietitian, especially, I mean, across the country, but also in the United States. So I am allowed to work privately, one-on-one, with people in the US. And it's also state dependent. So if you've applied to work with me before, you might see that question I ask you, what state are you in? Because I need to do my job to make sure I follow the laws of your state for us to work together. So for one-on-one work, it is for those in the United States. But I will say I also have a group program, and I'm not going to give away too much right now, but I will let you know that I have a group program that is open to anybody internationally, and it is a wonderful program. It is something, and maybe if you're in my Facebook group, you may have seen some people sharing recently about their success in the program, what they have seen, results they have seen just doing the group program, not even yet working one-on-one. So if you're international, and if you would like to work together and really get a solid foundation for your best kidney diet, the group program would be a great way for you and I to work together.
Yep. And for those of you who have not yet joined Jen's Facebook page, right there's the URL or the name of it. Go on Facebook, find it. It's free. And come on, when it comes to kicking kidney disease to the curb, the most powerful thing we have as patients is information. Learning about kidney disease, learning from others who have had the same challenges we have, and they found a way to manage the stress, to work with their diet, to find ways to add variety and flavor and textures and all sorts of amazing stuff. You're going to find that and so much more right there on her Facebook group. And as a kidney patient, we all know when you were diagnosed, you went on Google. You went and you looked. And what you found, it was not good at all. All this doom and gloom. Mm-hmm. But when you talk to other kidney patients who are living it, who are having amazing lives, it helps inspire you. It helps motivate you to make different choices to kick kidney disease to the curb. All right. I think that was a great introduction. Welcome everyone who is new. And if you haven't done so yet, I got to find my button up here. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way, every time we post new content, you get a notification. And give it a thumbs up if you like kicking kidney disease to the curb. That helps YouTube know, hey, this is some good stuff. Let me show it to other kidney patients so we can bring them hope and let them see that there is the possibility to live an amazing life with kidney disease. Now, let's jump right on in to today's topic, your gut health. So what the heck, Jen, does it mean when people say, hey, how's your gut health doing?
So the gut it's a crazy. I mean, we think about maybe our stomach or sometimes our bowel movements, right? The things that not a lot of people feel comfortable talking about. But there's this whole system, our digestive process, that takes a lot of time and a lot of work in our body to basically take care of the things that we put into it, the foods that we eat, the drinks that we have, even our supplements, our medications, everything goes through our gut because that is where things are digested, broken down, absorbed, or eliminated through waste. So the gut really has to do with how our body is processing everything we're putting into it and determining if things are supposed to be brought into the body or if things should be removed from the body.
Now, why is this important to our health? Because especially, I'll tell you, right now on YouTube, and practically everyone out there has been looking up there about kidney health. We're hearing all about this gut health and that it is important for our overall health. Why is that?
Well, when we think about the gut, and again, you want to think about what it's doing for your body. It is essentially the sorter of everything that you're putting into it. So the gut is that first step of really determining what the balance is, your electrolyte balances, hormone balances, your overall health, the calories, everything that you're putting in. The gut is what's determining how that's going to be affecting your health. And if your gut isn't healthy, it can set off a lot of chain of events of different situations that can lead to poorer health. So we can go into a lot of different avenues and routes about how this works. But essentially, if you think about, how do I want to phrase this? If you think about, and I'm going to use a cooking example because
okay,
as a
very
dietitian,
good.
you know,
Yeah, because when
food
it
and
comes to
cooking.
talking about your gut, there's some stuff that's kind of sensitive, I guess, to talk about.
Yeah, well, dietitians, we are not shy about that because we know that digestion tells us a lot of information about what's going on. So, if you think about the digestive process and how important it is to your health, think of when you're making a recipe. And I'm going to say specifically baking because baking really requires specific measurements. Oftentimes, when you're throwing in things into a pan, like you talk about stir fries, James,
Yep.
you know, you can throw in different amounts and quantities. It's not going to throw off a lot of things because it's very adaptable. But sometimes with baking, if you do too much flour, if you do too much sugar, if you do too much salt, if you do too much of something, the whole recipe gets thrown off. And from that point on, it's hard to come back from, right? Because that
Mm-hmm.
step of the process has already been messed with and it just creates a different outcome. So that essentially, if you think about the gut health, that's that first step that goes into the rest of your body's mechanisms, into what your kidneys are dealing with. So we want to make sure that everything in that front part of your digestive system is set up to be working really, really well to set the rest of the equation, the rest of the process up for better results for you. So oftentimes we focus on that digestive part in the beginning because if that's thrown off, then I mean, again, it's just going to set off this catalyst of domino effect of other situations, other things happening in the body. So we need to go back to that root cause. And very often there's an issue, a root cause that is related to a digestive issue. Now, a digestive issue could be something like bloating, could be constipation, it could be diarrhea, it could be nausea, it could be heartburn, it could be, I'm trying to think of just the number of different things. If you think about it, could be anything, any kind of reflux or, oh my
And that's
goodness.
a lot of different things. That definitely tells me gut health is important.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really, really is. And it's something that we oftentimes take for granted. And I know you kidney warriors out there, you know not to take your kidneys for granted. You're already
Mm-hmm.
so aware of that because of the situation you're in. And you know that other people around you maybe take their kidneys for granted because they don't have kidney issues
Oh,
and their kidneys are
yes.
doing everything. So it's very similar if you think about gut, that if you don't have gut issues, we kind of take advantage, we take for granted of everything that it's doing. And it's so powerful, all of the work that our gut is doing for our health, that sometimes we just kind of forget it and we let it slide and we don't realize. Or, and this is one of the hardest parts, I think, when somebody gets so used to their gut not working well and they get so used to bloating, they get so used to constipation, they get so used to diarrhea or loose stools, they get so used to reflux that becomes normal for them and they just assume that this is the way it is and they let that be that. And again, it's, if we're not addressing that, it can lead to a lot more issues later. And how better could you feel if that was corrected, if you
Yeah.
got
So,
rid of that bloating?
yeah, I'll tell you, I fall into that category. Even after I was diagnosed, working to improve, working with a renal dietitian, working with all the different doctors, I had problems that were related to my gut health. And I just kind of figured, I got to live with it. No need mentioning these things. And that was wrong because at one point, not that long ago, probably about 9 months ago now, maybe 7 months ago, my GFR had been improving. Things were looking better. Little changes here. Went up and down a little bit, but trending up overall. And I kind of hit a wall and I was stuck with getting better. And I talked to my doctor and he started to ask me some kind of strange questions about bowel movements, my bloating, gassing. How do I feel after I eat a meal and things like that? And through the questioning and stuff that he did, he determined I've got an unhealthy gut. And then we started making changes and boom, things started getting better again.
Yeah.
So I completely understand why, as kidney patients, or as really any patient, we don't think to mention these things to our doctor. And if we don't give them all these little pieces of information that they really need to know, they can't give us the best treatment to take care of those. And there was a point where after eating a meal, I just felt, ugh. I mean,
Yeah.
the bloating was always bad. I felt like every meal, and I wasn't always eating the best. I was trying, but even eating as healthy as I was, certain things just didn't work right. And I felt like I ate a Thanksgiving meal after even some little small meal. I just didn't feel good at all. But now I eat a meal and I go out and I walk. No problems. I feel great. It's not making me feel like I got to sit down and wait for it to pass. So anyone out there, I did this. I ignored it. And we got to not ignore anything that seems not right that our body is doing, whether it was constipation or diet. And I would go from one to the other. And, sitting there talking to my doctor, now things are very regular. And fiber is a very important part of my diet, as well as the different foods that I eat. So a question for you, and I don't want to jump too far ahead. How would I, without going to my doctor, know if my gut health really isn't where it should be? Are there signs besides what you mentioned, constipation, diarrhea? Because those could come from other things, but does that just mean my gut health isn't really where it needs to be?
Well, sometimes it's a matter of starting with just kind of tracking and assessing what's going on at that point. And, James, you and I have talked about doing the food journals. We've talked about how important that can be to look back. And food journals, when it comes to gut health, can be really, really eye-opening too, because it allows you that time, that period to look back and say, okay, I wasn't feeling so great. What was I having? What did I eat? And oftentimes I recommend with my clients that food journaling a step further and not only logging what they're eating, but also logging things like their hunger fullness levels. Scale of 1 to 10. How hungry were you before? How full were you after? How did you feel 20 minutes after your meal? How did you feel 2 hours after your meal? Questions like that can really bring to light some interesting things. I mean, it takes our stomach up to 5 hours to digest a meal, depending on the size and what's in there. So your digestive system is working a lot all the time. It's really working when you're up and around and eating meals throughout the day. So we talk about focusing on a lot of those aspects, and it can feel overwhelming. That's why I recommend, for one, working with a dietitian to help you outline a process of what to focus on, or to at least yourself start to kind of create essentially a checklist. So again, the first thing I would say, get that food journal going. Take a look at how much fiber you're having. Is it at least 25 grams of fiber a day? And if it's not, is there a way for you to gradually get there? You don't want to go from 10 grams of fiber a day to 30 grams overnight, because that can also cause constipation.
Yeah, very important right there.
It's a slow process.
Yeah, that's a very important point you made there. A lot of times we think, more fiber will help us. But if you go from extreme low fiber to even where you're supposed to be overnight or too fast, you can get constipation. It's going to back you up. It's not going to do what you think it's going to do. And I eat a very high fiber diet, and my doctor had me ramp it up. It felt like forever to me. Kind of ate it, got used to it. Things got regular, upped a little more, got used to it, to where I got to where he wanted me to be for a while. And now I'm working my way back down because I got pretty high on my fiber. What can we do? And we're talking about fiber. So fiber is good for us. What else can we do? Or is there anything you wanted to add about fiber before I ask what else can we eat to help improve our gut?
Well, I will say, because in part we have this Fortis, the Kibo Fortis giveaway, fiber supplements can be helpful, but you need to be careful with them. in the quantity. And again, that gradual increase is more so what we're looking at. And I'm a really, really big proponent of food first. So if you just find that your diet in one way or another is too restrictive and you can't get that fiber goal in, then a fiber supplement can be helpful for you. Or if you're focusing on something else and you want the fiber supplement to help you along the way, there's ways to do it safely, but you've got to do it slow and smart and don't rush into it. This is, just like we were saying, this is not a 0 to 60 kind of situation that's going to backfire. And what you're probably going to walk away thinking is, wow, Jen and James are crazy to think that I should be eating more fiber, because that did not help my situation at all. And we both are not trying to do that. So
yeah, when you do it right,
steady,
it helps. So let's talk about the giveaway we're doing. Biotech, the makers of Renal, which helps your gut health. Boop, 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 get the label right there. They also make a fiber pill, and they also make a fiber powder for those of you who don't like eating these big pills. They have graciously offered to do a random giveaway of 1 full month. That's this big bottle. There's 90 pills in here. A regular dosage is 3 of them a day. You can actually stretch it out, take like 2 a day. That's usually what I do, is I take 2 a day. But we're going to give these away randomly. We're going to pick somebody, and here's what you got to do to enter. So first of all, it is, and I'm sorry to say this, it is limited to people who live in the United States for this random giveaway. I'll try to find some international things to do in the future. But all you got to do, let me bring it up here on the screen so you see it. Boom. Comment pound or hashtag. I'm old school, so it's a pound to me. Fiber Boost in the comments, and tell us what your favorite high fiber food is. And the reason I'm asking for what your high fiber food is, someone just recently asked, what are some good high fiber foods apart from apples and pears? Well, let's find out from each other. What do you guys reach for when you're looking for high fiber? Now, Jen and I have talked about this a couple times. My favorite, of course, is apples, because there's like 1,000 different types, different textures, flavors, sweetness, tartness, juiciness, so many of them. But it's those foods that you eat the skin. Lots of good fiber. So let us know. Put in the comments, pound Fiber Boost, and what is your favorite high fiber food that you reach for. Now, of course, this is a supplement. This is something you take in addition to the food you're eating to help you get a bit more fiber. And for those of you that are thinking, what if I comment twice? Does that put me in there, the random drawing, more than once? Yes, it does. There's no limit to the number of times you can type in a different food in there. So go ahead, have fun with it. Now, while they're telling us about what they do, here's some good ones. Doris, this is a great one. They're flying by so fast I can't grab them. She said oatmeal. That is a fantastic one. I like oatmeal because I can make up all sorts of oatmeal. We got celery and apples. Awesome. Flaxseed. My wife loves this one. Chia seeds. She puts chia seeds in everything. And my kids have grown up liking chia seeds. Let's see what else. More chias. I don't know how to pronounce this one. I'm going to try it. Psyllium husks.
Psyllium husks.
Psyllium husks. Boy, I just butchered that one. I am really bad at reading and figuring things out. A quick story. Once took a trip with my friends to Washington, D.C. We're driving around. I'm reading the map, and I'm like, look, we got to go. We're got to turn for Potomac. And they're like, Potomac? What's Potomac? Potomac. I was so bad at it. We got apples, broccoli, another great one right there. Here's one I didn't know. Does this have fiber in it? Blackberries? It's a berry supply has some.
Berries are an awesome source and low potassium. So you can get, I don't remember the exact amount of fiber in berries. I want to say raspberries are the highest. I think it's
raspberries are my favorite berry.
Yeah. Berries are an awesome source of fiber, and I really love that they're low potassium, so they fit into all sorts of kidney-friendly diets.
Yep. We have popcorn. Nice little snack there. I do popcorn from time to time. I actually make it all myself. I don't buy the microwave popcorn because I don't want any of those chemicals. I just make it myself, and I've gotten really good at sprinkling some garlic, a little bit of curry powder on there. I like a little kick to my popcorn.
Yeah.
More people, lots of apples, lots of celery in here. This is fantastic. What are some other things that we may be able to eat, Jen, that are high fiber in addition to what people have been mentioning on here?
Well, I don't know if anybody had mentioned it. I don't think I heard it, but beans, peas,
Nobody
legumes.
said beans.
And I'm going to guess it's because a lot of people are thinking that you can't have beans on a kidney diet or a renal diet. And that's not the case. It is
Exactly. I just had beans yesterday, jalapenos, and kind of like my own homemade refried beans. Oh, that was good.
That sounds great. Yeah, so beans are great.
I found that if I add some spice to it, just a little tip, everybody, I eat it slower, which helps me feel fuller. I don't need as much, and it helps with flavor. So I've gotten to where I used to hate. I was a wimp. I didn't put jalapenos on anything. Now, jalapenos, I love them. It's a great way to change it up and add some spice. So what were you saying? I actually interrupted you there.
Oh, no, you're good. So beans and peas, legumes, lentils, these are all really, really great sources of fiber, and a little does go a long way. The great thing about adding something like this is, for one, it's a source of plant-based protein. It gives you a ton of fiber in there. So you can do a half a cup, and it's going to be really, really solid for your meal to give you plenty of nutrition in there without having a ton of it. There is potassium in there, yes, but when you do a typical serving, which is about a half a cup, it's still going to be fit. It can fit into a kidney-friendly diet, even if you do have a potassium restriction. Again, when we talk about potassium balance, you have an allowance. You have a certain amount of potassium that you can have. So it's all about how you want to spend that allowance in your diet. You could do, let's say we're talking about making $1. You could do 2 quarters and a couple nickels and a bunch of pennies. Or you could do 4 quarters, right? It's all about how it adds up to that amount. So you can find a way to fit high potassium foods into your diet, but you just need to look at the bigger picture, look at everything overall. And talking about gut health, having a healthy gut, going to the bathroom, having bowel movements is a great way to control your potassium, because potassium can be eliminated through your bowel movements. So it's another reason to have a healthy gut, to have enough fiber to help control your potassium.
Awesome. Yeah. Now, Mike asked, what about quinoa? Is that a high fiber food?
Yeah, quinoa. A lot of these nutrients, I'm not going to know the exact amount because that's like an encyclopedia kind of thing. That's why we have Chronometer and my
That's the app I use, Chronometer. Yeah. I love it because there's a free version. It works great. It'll probably take care of everybody's needs. I pay a little bit for the pay version, and my doctors in real time can see my food log, everything that I eat, and I can set those minimums. You talked about that allowance, like potassium. You got to have a certain amount of potassium. If you're too low, that's just as bad as having too much. Remember, we're looking for that Goldilocks zone, just right in between there. You can set those goals, and it can help warn you. And I absolutely love that. But yeah, quinoa, that's a good one.
And when we think about making a meal with a lot of these ingredients, I mean, just imagine how easy it is to get your fiber goal for the day in including a variety of these things from meal to meal. It can add up easily if you do focus on the plants of your diet and make sure that you have a good portion of your plate, your bowl, your serving include fruits and vegetables and grains.
Yeah, there we go. And here's one that someone mentioned that I dip into quite often. I got to watch my portion control, though. Certain nuts like almonds. There we go. Good fiber in the almonds. I love, little tip, you guys know I don't cook that much, or I don't cook much variety, but my stir fry, I love throwing almonds in there, or sometimes pecans, or if I'm feeling really, really spendy, I'll throw in some macadamias. Now, the problem with the macadamias, I don't get as many of them because I weigh out the food and how much I'm putting in there and stuff. But almonds are great fiber. Adds a little crunch. They get kind of almost like they're roasted when they're in the stir fry. Oh, and these are just great ideas, great recommendations for people to help you guys add more variety and get more fiber to help your gut. Now, someone asked, Jen, if they've got regular bowel movements, does that mean their gut's all healthy and they don't need to worry about fiber?
Well, I think it's a good start. I definitely think if you're having healthy bowel movements, it's a good sign that things are working pretty well. It's not necessarily a black and white kind of thing. There's a lot of intricacies. And if you ever look into any kind of research or information when it comes to gut health, I mean, even us as health professionals, we're still learning a lot about the gut health and how it plays a huge role in a lot of different factors related to our kidney, our brain health. It's related to basically every organ. If you think about, the gut is deciding what gets brought into the body, and what gets brought into the body is what's nurturing us and what's feeding us. So that is a really big part of it, to assess your bowel movements and make sure everything is well and healthy and regular. And that regular is different for everybody. I would say at least, oh man, if you're going more than a couple days without a bowel movement, that's not a healthy gut, because your body is having waste that it's not getting rid of. So regularity is different for everybody, but it's going to be about once a day, if not more. I have some clients that are having bowel movements 3 times a day because their body is so just adapted to getting rid of things as it comes through. When they're eating a high fiber diet, they're eating a lot of these nutrients, and it's going to be different. But there's other factors when it comes to certain inflammatory markers, when it comes to other symptoms of unhealthy gut. So let's say you're going to the bathroom regularly, but you could still be experiencing bloating. That could be a sign that something is going on. And I know a lot of people, especially in the kidney world, think bloating, they associate bloating with a high sodium, high salt diet. And they think, oh, I'm bloating because I had a lot of salt. That's not always the case. It could be related to how you're digesting your food. If you're digesting your food, is there some part of your food that you're not digesting? So don't assume if you have something going on that you know exactly what's happening, because it may or may not be the case. And that's why you have health professionals. James, like you said, your doctor is asking you all of a sudden these random questions, how's this? How's this? How's this?
He even wanted me to describe what certain things look like.
Yeah. If anybody wants to get an idea for what to assess for a healthy bowel movement, I didn't include any pictures because some people may have just eaten or they don't feel comfortable talking about this. But you can Google, just look up the Bristol stool chart. It's BRISTOL. Bristol stool chart. And when you Google that, it's going to show you several different categories of how bowel movements might look. And it will tell you, sometimes you can find articles that will dive into what that could mean, if that's healthy or unhealthy. But oftentimes, getting a little bit more into this right now, if you're having any strain or pressure or struggling, it takes you a long time to go to the bathroom. It doesn't feel like you've accomplished what you wanted to accomplish in going to the bathroom. Things like that, those can all be signs that something is not happening correctly. So frequent bowel movements can be great, but think of other factors related to that and how the bowel movement is. So I'm guessing that's part of why your doctor was asking you, James, about what your bowel movements were like, to get, again, a better idea of what was coming out, what the waste is, and how your body is taking care of that.
Yeah. So we have a few questions here I want to jump on so that they don't get lost. Lots of activity today, which is great. You guys are so good at posting comments and asking each other. People are actually, Jen, helping each other in here and recommending stuff, which is fantastic.
That's great.
I love that. Our community is just awesome.
Yeah.
What about drinking things where you like you juice it? How is the impact of that on fiber? If I'm juicing
So
my apples, for example.
yeah. So when you juice fruit, it is not going to carry that fiber into the juice. And you probably will find that when you look at a label of a fruit juice that the fiber is very, very low unless they've added something into it. And that's a possibility, but it's not very common. Something I think would be maybe a little bit higher fiber, well, I know would be higher fiber, would be like a smoothie, to make a smoothie from fruits and vegetables. And that will carry the fiber in and be more fibrous for you and more filling. I'm just sneeze. That's how you know this is live.
No problem.
That's how you know it's live, is because this kind of stuff happens. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
um, okay. Anyway, so juicing juices are going to be low fiber. And again, that's another reason why juices don't really fill you up very well. I mean, yes, they could fill you up if you had, a huge 32 ounces of juice, then yes, anything in 32-ounce volume is going to be quite filling, regardless of fiber. But if you were to have something smaller that had more fiber into it, that is going to be really, really filling and slow down that digestion, absorption. Last time we talked about diabetes and kidney-related issues. Fiber helps slow down those blood sugar spikes. So making sure that your smoothies, your drinks have some fiber in them can be helpful. Now, I'm not saying that adding the Metamucil, the Benefiber, things like that, you don't need to add that to your drinks, thinking that you need to get more fiber that way. Again, food first. How can you get that fiber into your diet? Just with your food choices. That's really the best way to do it. It really, really is. And oftentimes I'm really excited when I can work with my clients and take them off those supplements and they still feel great. Everything's regular, everything's digesting good, if not better, without more pills. And I'm always really excited to take my clients off of additional pills that aren't necessary.
Yeah, very good. Question here we have. So what if someone has constipation? They're suffering from it. Are there certain things that are good to try to kind of work through that problem? I know there may be, it depends on the calls, things like that, but are there certain things that, and I have a go-to that I do, and I'll save that for after you answer. Are there things that you recommend if we're kind of stopped up?
Absolutely. One of the things I would, number one, recommend is making sure you're hydrated. Make sure you're drinking enough water. If you're on a fluid restriction because of your kidney issues, you need to follow that restriction because it is in place for a reason. Drinking more water, if your doctor tells you to limit, is not going to help the case. It's actually probably going to create more issues if you go outside of that fluid restriction or that fluid allowance. If you're not on a fluid restriction, drinking enough water is really, really, really helpful to stay regulated because water and fiber go hand in hand together when formulating a bowel movement. You need both pieces to be able to have a healthy bowel movement. And if you have a high fiber diet and you don't have enough water, you're essentially not giving it that road, that pathway to move everything out and through. So staying hydrated is very, very important. Another one that I like to encourage with clients is to make sure that you're chewing your food really thoroughly. So the very beginning part of digestion starts in our mouth. That's where we start to digest food, is breaking it down mechanically. We are breaking food down in our mouth by chewing it. We also start to digest our carbohydrates from our saliva. Our saliva has enzymes that start to break down the food. So making sure you're not rushing through your meal and that you're chewing your food very well will help with digestion. And I can say I have a client that had, we talked about this. We talked about working on this particularly for a while. And she didn't even realize how bloated she was until she started doing this. And she felt so much better. And that really helped the whole process of her digestive movements from that point forward. So chew your food really thoroughly is a great way to start and make sure everything is going to be digested a little bit easier. The third thing I would recommend would be to have a walk. Take a very light walk after your meals to help with the blood flow and to literally get things moving. having a light walk after meals is so helpful. And James, you kind of mentioned that when you said taking your walks in the evening.
I did not. My doctor encouraged me to do that. When I eat, after I eat lunch, take a walk. Now, before all the stay-at-home orders, he told me just walk around your building a few times, get your steps in. After you eat dinner, go for a walk. And now it's kind of clicking. Whatever he tells me to do, I do it. I don't really question I do say why? Is this going to help me? Yeah, it's going to help you. I do it. But it's really clicking, all this stuff as you talk about it.
Yeah, and you start to think about all these little pieces that we talk about. You kind of step back and you look at, oh my gosh, there is a bigger picture here. And you start to see how things connect with each other, and you see how it relates to your health, how it relates to your kidneys, how it relates to blood sugar control, blood pressure control, which, by the way, fiber is excellent for blood pressure control as well. But you just see how this all really comes in play together. And if you make one tweak in one of these aspects, it can really create this event that everything else can start to line up and you can feel really, really good.
Fantastic. I'm going to jump on a couple more of these questions. Is inulin, Inulin, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, the same as fiber? I don't know.
Inulin is a type of fiber. So this is something that can be added to, usually added to foods. If you think about like chicory root, it's basically something that when there's a certain brand, I don't know if I want to say it or not. I'm going to say it, whatever. Fiber One. There's a certain...
Hey, we had someone comment. We had a comment on a different Fiber One, or a different fiber brand.
Oh, okay. Well, Fiber One is a brand that really promotes, I mean, it's in their name. They promote fiber in their products. They're processed still. They're not natural sources of fiber. They're taking inulin, they're taking chicory root, they're taking these types of fibers that are put into that, and that's how it increases the fiber content of something like a brownie, like the little packaged brownies or something like that they can say there's more fiber in here because we put it in here. So this is something where there can be a place for it in the diet. It should not be the fundamental. It should not be that, you think about like the old school food pyramid, how there's that base of what you should really focus on. It should not be in that category. So if you want to have it from time to time, chances are it's not going to throw anything off. But if you're focusing on that, if you're counting that as part of your daily fiber goal, I think there's some changes that we could look at that you could get some better results and not have to worry about something like that, because too much of it can cause GI upset. It can cause GI distress.
Mm-hmm. So Mike asked, this is a great question right here. How much water should we consume per day to stay hydrated?
Okay, so the general rule of thumb, I would say, is approximately half of your weight in ounces, which we talked about before, I believe. Yeah, so about half your weight in ounces is a good starting point. I will say that that is not the case if your doctor has said you need to cut back on fluids. Later stages of kidney issues, upwards into dialysis, can mean a fluid restriction. So whatever that restriction is, it's going to be determined by your doctor and your dietitian. That is something that you want to follow. Otherwise, if you're not on a fluid restriction, about half of your weight in ounces is a starting point of where you can look at. And then you want to take a look at your blood pressure and see how that goes when you're reaching that goal. You want to take a look at your weight and see if you're having big fluctuations in your weight, because that can also be a sign of a fluid change and balance. So there's a lot of factors in there, and it's kind of hard. I can't give like specific, like this is how much you should have, but in general, that could be a starting point. And then you can always ask your doctor about, well, this is what I'm aiming for. Should I do more? Should I do less? Ask the dietitian, ask your dietitian, should I do more? Should I do less? And that'll give you a good starting point at least.
Yeah. And just to clarify for everyone, because I used to always say in the beginning, half your weight in ounces, and people would be like, okay, I weigh 200 pounds, 100 pounds of water. What the heck? No, what you do, if you weigh 200 pounds, divide the 200 in half, 100 and it'd be 100 ounces a day. You're not drinking the weight in water.
Right.
It's the ounces. Just to be clear, in the beginning, I used to always say half your weight in ounces, and people would sometimes misunderstand that. And I could only imagine trying to drink your weight in pounds. And remember, guys,
Oh my goodness.
if you're on a fluid restriction, that is the overrider, okay? What your doctor says. This is just a general, the average. If you're more active, you're out in hotter weather, they may want you to drink a little bit more. Always good to check with your doctor or with your renal dietitian that you're working with that knows your health, your activity, your labs. But that's a good starting place. And I always have water within reach. You guys know I love that True Lemon, the crystallized lemon. I throw it in there. Jen's got her water.
Yep.
I drink plenty of this every day to help keep me healthy and keep things flowing. So that's actually, I didn't really put it together. I know fiber is important for your gut, but I forgot the water part. The fiber kind of soaks it up and helps it move its way through. Now, there is one comment in here I want to read to you because it was so funny. It made me laugh. I got to scroll back here and find it. The person, Chris, you know what I'm looking for. Chris knows it. Chris posted this. I'm going to read this to you. Jen can't see the comments today. Something, I don't know what went wrong. She actually can't even see this camera right here. She sees a different camera on the side, and it's not a flattering view of me. But Chris wrote, and I think this is really funny, and I'm going to read it. Says, let me get it up here. Jen's great. Really? Those are shit. There's a pun in there somewhere. And, hey, I got the pun. I saw it.
Pun in there.
It got me to laugh. Great post, Chris. Thank you very much for helping bring humor into our discussion here about all this.
Yeah, that was perfect.
He just posted a whole bunch of laughing smiley faces and stuff. So we're kind of getting closer to the top of the hour. So we talked about foods we can eat. We had a lot of great suggestions for people in the comments. What else should we do or should we be aware of with gut health?
I mean, I could go on a long time about this topic, and it could be essentially never ending considering all the different ways we think about how our gut affects our health. I want to say that if you try a lot of different things, and you try walking, you try drinking more, you're having a high fiber diet, you're chewing your food thoroughly, you're doing a lot of these things that we're talking about, and things are still not feeling right, you can ask your doctor for a referral to a doctor known as a gastroenterologist. And this is a GI doctor. This is somebody who specializes in focusing on what's going on with your gut health. And you might already have a handful of doctors, your primary, your nephrologist, your cardiologist, your endocrinologist, but they all specialize for a reason. So if you do a lot of things and you're still feeling stuck and you're still feeling like you can't really figure out what's going on, it's not a bad idea to get a referral to a GI specialist because they can run some more specific tests and get an idea more so of what's going on. What I don't want is I don't want you to think that you have to do your own experiments as far as food elimination. Mm-hmm. There are potential opportunities, but it's case by case about doing a gluten-free diet. If you have issues digesting gluten, about doing a lactose-free diet, if you have issues digesting lactose. There are digestive enzymes on the market that you can take a digestive enzymes, and I've had clients in the past do that. That helps them break down the food in their stomach so it's easier for them to digest. There's a lot of different routes and a lot of different things that you can look at, but the bottom line is that you'll want to have that medical and dietary support, that professional who is going to be reviewing and assessing to make sure it's the right thing, because you guys know the renal diet can become very restrictive if we let it. If you do a renal diet on your own, that's when you start pulling out a lot of more foods because you get really
Mm-hmm.
scared about how they affect you. And it's not the case. But you just need to have that right guidance to show you, for one, how it's possible and how much is possible, and more of a step-by-step process to do it safely and healthily and effectively for your health, your kidney health, your gut health, all of these things that we talk about that tie in together.
Yeah, and I'll just second that. Working with a renal dietitian, just it is life changing. If anyone out there is not doing it already, you need to. Okay, in the beginning, I took those very high level general guidelines: reduce salt, reduce potassium, reduce phosphorus, nothing artificial, nothing GMO. I ended up with, like, I don't know, a handful of things to eat. That was it. And it was frightening to try to figure out, am I safe eating this? But now, after working for a little over a year, maybe a year and a quarter or so with renal dietitians, I figured it all out, or I figured out enough. I haven't figured it all out. We'll never learn everything. I figured out enough that I can eat anywhere. We can go out to eat. I can go in the kitchen, open up the refrigerator, and I can figure out what to make that's going to meet the nutritional needs of my body, because we all have nutritional needs, and not send me too high on potassium, send me too high on phosphorus. And if I want, for example, my wife today made some avocado dip. What is that called? Guacamole.
James, you're killing me. I'm from Arizona. Come on now.
Let me tell you something. I had avocado trees when I lived in California in my yard. I just fed them to the dogs. Then I tried guacamole, and I'm like, holy cow, I've been giving this away.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't had any. But when we're done, I'm going to eat dinner, and I'm going to eat a little bit of guacamole. Yeah, there's potassium in it, but I've been careful throughout the day. I've got plenty of buffer that I get to enjoy me some avocado. You discover that when you work with a renal dietitian, that a diet isn't no, 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 no. It's choices and portion control. And you get to look and say, hey, I can have this, or I can make a choice of this. I want to have this much. You choose. Okay, you got your allowance, your minimums you need to get, your maximums you don't want to go over, and pick what you want to fit in there. So a renal dietitian is life changing when it comes to having the freedom to eat practically what you want. Maybe not the amount you want, but you can eat almost anything when you understand the nutrition of it and how to make it fit within your renal diet. So I'm up on my soapbox again about that. I still run into so many people when I go out in social media groups like Facebook or Reddit or something like that that are not working with renal dietitians, and they're doing that elimination diet.
Yeah.
That's not a renal diet, people. It's not about eliminating. I know. I feel so bad for them. And I see other people commenting, no salt, no potassium, no this, no that. And I'm thinking,
no life.
Oh, exactly. They're not enjoying meals. I still love to eat, and I just eat a lot healthier now, and I eat better. And it's added years to my life. It's made me a better person, which means I'm going to be around longer for my kids as they grow up. There's just so many benefits. All right, let me take a quick look.
I just want to say one thing that I really am glad you pointed out when you talked about working with a dietitian, that you worked with a dietitian for a longer time. I know some people think it's like a one and done thing, and we just cannot possibly get through everything in one, even 2 or 3 sessions. It's a change. It's a lifestyle change. And you need that longer term process to go through this step by step, because if you put too much on yourself at one point in time, that's when you throw in the towel and you say, whatever, it's not worth it. It's too much work. And that's not how it has to be. We focus on the top priorities, what gets you the most results, the biggest change, the biggest benefits. and we go from there. And that's how it should be. That's how lifestyle changes should be. It's no different when it comes to kidney health.
Yep. And I'll tell you guys, the first meeting, so I've worked with a number of dietitians. I think it's either 5 or 6 that I've worked with. And it's not because they've been bad. It's just been that I learned, oh, there's a new one. And I'm like, can I go in and see them? Just to get some ideas from them. I want to learn some stuff. What they usually do is they sit down and they talk to me. When do I eat? What do I eat? What do I like to eat? What do I not like to eat? And what are my goals? And there was a time when we all want to say, oh, I want my kidneys better. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's not really the right goal. You want to focus something you can get now that I can achieve. And I would say things like, well, I want to lower my BUN, my BUN. Or I want to, I got anemia. I want my energy back. Give me my energy. I need it for my life to go back to normal. And then they focused on things like iron, zinc, the B vitamins, a little bit of vitamin C. They worked with me, and I wasn't eating meat, so I wasn't getting much iron. They helped me figure out how to do it, whether it was supplements or it was natural food. And I always leaned more and more towards the food. I like to take as little pills as possible, but they're just good to take. But I just wanted to kind of throw that in there. I kind of lost my train of thought.
I know we get so tangential about this stuff, but I think it's because you and I are just we're both so passionate about it.
Yes.
And then we just we get on our little soapboxes and just talk about how important it is.
Yeah. Now we had a couple questions. Someone said, hey, what's the topic for next week? Oh, this is a good one next week. Mistakes made when ordering fast food. When you're dining out, things to avoid. And let me tell you guys, when you're done listening to us next week, you're going to feel empowered. You're going to say, hey, I'm not afraid of going out to a fast food because I'm out on the road and it's the convenient thing. Occasionally you stop in there. Come on, it happens.
It's real life.
Yeah, it's an okay occasional treat when you know what to do. We're going to talk about that so that you're not afraid. You don't have that no diet like we were just talking about a little bit earlier. So that answers that question. That's what next week's topic is. We're getting lots of people are loving today's topic and lots of thanks. Just to let you know, Jen.
Oh, great. Well, I'm glad. I'm really, really glad.
Yeah, and for everybody, I see we got people are still putting the hashtag fiber boost and telling us what their favorite fiber food is. For those of you that didn't hear, that joined late, we are giving away a full month of Kebo Fortis from Kebo Biotech, the same people who make Renal, which is what I take to also help my gut health. I wanted them to give away 3 months of this, but they said, not yet. We'll do it when you hit a big number. So probably the end of July, we should have 100,000 subscribers, and maybe we'll get them to give away a 3-month supply then. But if you are in the United States, it's the only limitation here. If you're in the United States, post pound fiber boost in the comments. You can post it as many times as you want. Every time you post it, pound fiber boost, and you tell us what your favorite high fiber food is, boom, you're entered into the random drawing. And what I'm going to do is we're going to let the video sit up there on YouTube for 24 hours. And then there's a little tool that goes in there and it will randomly pick somebody. And then I will reach out to you because YouTube doesn't let me just email you directly. But I have a way to reach out to you. So keep an eye out for who the winner is when I reach out to you. You want to keep coming back to this video and look in the comments. And you're going to get a full month of this. And you take 3 pills a day. If you only take 2, because you're getting plenty of fiber from apples and all these other things we talked about, it's going to last you even longer. All right. So those of you that joined us late, make sure you go in there and do it. We got people saying we should make a renal diet book.
I've really contemplated working on a cookbook. It's just so time consuming. It's a lot of work, but that has been something that I have put just kind of planted in the back of my brain.
Yep. And just to let you guys know, there is someone that I'm talking to. Him and I have a call tomorrow night, who is on dialysis. He's a chef, owns a restaurant, and he has a book out there, Cooking for Your Kidneys. I'm going to talk to him and see if we might be able to do a little collaboration where he's sharing some of his recipes and cooking tips. And, maybe get him on Thursday night or Friday night or something like that, so that this becomes a great resource for kidney patients of all sorts of great information. Believe me, I would love to make cooking videos, but I make stir fry. That's it. Stir fry is easy. You really can't mess it up. You get to throw all sorts of vegetables in there and throw in a little bit of walnuts or something like that for fiber, and boom, make up your sauces. There's not a lot to do. And you guys don't want to watch me making stir fry, a dozen times a week or anything like that. But hopefully, we might get some more stuff. And then when you belong, I'm going to bring it up here to Jen's Facebook group right there. You guys see it? There's how you get to it. She does cooking videos. She's chopping things up, making it all. And every time we talk, even tonight, you mentioned stuff. I'm learning new stuff, which is helping me to add more variety, more flavor, different textures. You guys go in there. If you haven't joined that Facebook group, come on, what are you waiting for? It's free. Go do it. All right. Now we are at the top of the hour. Anything else you want to add that you think is important for people related to gut health? And while you're doing that, I'm gonna go look through the comments, see if there's any more things that we might be able to fit in before we end tonight.
Sure. I think we've covered a lot of bases of what to look for when it comes to gut health for kidney issues, because there's definitely a lot. And I don't want to overwhelm anybody with, a list of like 20 things to be kind of focusing on. Take it step by step. Look at one thing to focus on. Set a goal up for yourself of focusing on that for X number of days, X number of meals, whatever the situation is, and tackle that goal, and then move on to the next thing. And as you start to develop these new habits for healthy digestion, that is a really great process to do. You don't need to do all of these things at one point in time. So take it step by step, pick something that you really want to focus on and start there and focus on that. And I've talked about all the time with my clients, I talk about setting up a goal, a specific goal, something that you can check off on the calendar, that you can cross off on your to-do list, something that you plug into your day-to-day lifestyle that you can accomplish. And that is going to be really, really helpful. So start with that. Don't let yourself get too overwhelmed. If you're getting too overwhelmed, pull back and ask for help. Find your dietitian to work with, talk with your doctor for a referral. There's tons of ways to reach out and get that support and that help for somebody to help guide you through that process.
Yep. And I'll tell you, if you're not working with a renal dietitian, you need to. It's just going to make life with kidney disease so much easier. And someone posted, "We love your energy, James. Thank you so much." And if you guys go back and you watch one of my old original videos, holy cow, have I improved. It's because of nutrition. I stopped doing things that hurt my kidneys. Stop the damage. I focused on nutrition. Got me some exercise, at least 30 minutes every single day. Doctor said 5 days a week. I do it 7 days. Gonna get my exercise in. I do steps. I'm walking out there doing things, playing with the dogs, playing with the kids, things like that. Nothing tough. I'm drinking, staying hydrated, always thinking about that. That's pretty much it. That has allowed me to get this energy back, kick anemia to the curb as I keep improving my overall health. And this is just evidence that for some people, there is hope. It's not that doom and gloom that you're reading on Facebook, you're reading on Google. Work with a dietitian, everybody. If you're not doing it, please, you owe it to yourself. Give it 6 months. Try it. Mm-hmm. You're going to thank me. You guys are all going to be like, holy cow, James is right. That's what I did. Come on, guys. You can do it. All right. Let me do a quick one more scan right through these before we wrap it up for tonight. There are a lot of questions people are asking that are really specific to their health. um, and things like that we really can't address right here in this conversation. It's a longer one. If you have anemia, there's a number of these that are about anemia. Your red blood cell count's low, your hemoglobins are low. That is something my dietitian helped me with. They looked at my diet. I wasn't getting enough iron. There's certain B vitamins, B9, B12 I wasn't getting enough of. I need a little bit of vitamin C to help absorb those. They just adjusted my diet, and all of a sudden my red blood cells got back into normal range. Hemoglobins got back into normal range. Energy came back. That's if you've got anemia, low red blood cell, low hemoglobins, it zaps your energy. All right. Let me see what else is in here real quick as I trying to get as many of these as possible. I know you guys don't want to see me just sitting here scrolling through this. So many comments. It's awesome. Oh, go ahead.
I'll say two things. One thing, we did a video not too long ago about anemia. So you can always, if you're watching, if you have questions about that, you can go back to that video that James and I had done a few weeks ago. It's hard for me to keep track of time, but we did a video talking about anemia, and I do have information on my website that you can go find out more tips and tricks about how to help support your red blood cells, your hemoglobin levels. The other thing before we wrap things up that I definitely had to squeeze in there, because I think maybe my parents are watching, and I want to say Happy Father's Day to my dad, who I love so much, and I'm so grateful for your support. And I'm totally taking up all of your time, James, so I can tell my dad.
That is perfect. So where I love calling out people, and in a good way, like saying, hey, hi to someone. As a matter of fact, next week, I'm going to be wishing a very, very happy birthday to somebody. Raymond, you know who it's going to be. But where does your dad live? Because your husband's in the military, and you're currently stationed in Hawaii.
Yeah, so my parents live in Arizona, and that's where I'm born and raised from. So they are in Arizona now, and I love you and miss you, and hope to see you again soon. Mom, stop crying. And I hope that we can see each other again very, very soon.
Yeah. Later this year, you're supposed to come back stateside. So that'll put you a lot closer. Though I'll tell you, if my kids lived in Hawaii, well, I'd be looking to visit them quite a bit.
They do. Yeah. So, but happy Father's Day to all the other fathers that are out there. You are doing an amazing job. You are a wonderful dad. James, you as well. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
So I hope you all have a wonderful, however quarantine style your Father's Day is looking. Enjoy it and celebrate it. And I hope your kids celebrate and spoil you.
Thank you so much. All right, everybody. That is going to be it for today. We appreciate you being here. If you haven't yet commented for the Kibo Fortis fiber right here, easy to take giveaway, go ahead and do it. You got 24 hours. Every time you post pound fiber boost and tell us whatever is your favorite type of fiber, your food, like apples, things like that, you're entered into the random drawing. So have fun. Go ahead, enter in multiple times. Give you a better chance of winning this. Now, it is only available for those in the U.S., but we're going to give it away, and hopefully even more giveaways very, very soon. And we saw, the people who make Kibo Fortis, I'm trying to squeeze this all in really fast. They are the same people who make Renadil. And I saw a few people say, hey, they got their Renadil. Fantastic. Renadil helps you with your gut health. All right. It's a special probiotic, because fiber is a prebiotic. It's a special probiotic that can help in your gut metabolize certain waste products, nitrogenous waste, so that it passes in your stool instead of getting all of it absorbed into your bloodstream. So it's going to reduce the amount making your bloodstream, which for me, it helped with my BUN. It helped lower that. Also, it helped give me a bit of a bump in my GFR. Now, it's not going to do that for everybody. And you got to take it for 3 months, okay, before you start seeing results. It may just stabilize you. It may improve you a little bit. There's probably some people where it won't do anything, but it's definitely worth it, in my opinion, to give it a try. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, James, this isn't cheap. I know, but it's worth it, okay? But there's a link right there on the screen where you can get a discount by using the coupon code Dadvice TV. I do not get any kickback, no commission, not a penny or more if you guys buy it. Doesn't matter to me whether you buy it or not, whether you get on Amazon. Now, if you do buy it and you use the Dadvice TV discount code, you get added, and this is brand new, the first time I'm going to say it, to a soon-to-be launched, about 2 weeks from now, Dadvice TV newsletter. Chemo Biotech, the makers of this, the makers of Chemo Force. Feels like I'm in a commercial right here, an infomercial, but I'm not prepared well. They work with me, and they're going to do the newsletter so that it doesn't cost me anything and take a bunch of my time. They're helping me with the design, the layout, and everything, which is great. So you guys get signed up, and you'll be getting that. All right. Thank you, guys. We will see you in the next video. And make sure, if you haven't done so already, I'm going to try to throw all this in. It's just like a commercial. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give it a thumbs up. Share this if you know somebody who is battling kidney disease or has someone in their family or a friend who has kidney disease. The more information you get, the better you're equipped to work with your doctor and make life changes to hopefully improve your overall quality of life and kick kidney disease to the curb. All right, everybody, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you in the next video.